All right, so what have we been watching lately? Well, we're about to tell you, because this is What Are We Watching? Volume 9.
First up, we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.
The Secret of the Ooze. And this was one, actually, that I watched with Charlotte while you were gone for the day.
Mm-hmm.
And, you had a trip you need to go on, so that was a lot of fun. So, Charlotte, we've been watching quite a bit of the 2012 cartoon. And Charlotte kept going, Ninja Turtles, and I was like, okay, we've watched a lot of that. Let's at least switch it up and go back to like the live action. And she never actually saw this movie before, and she was initially like, no, I want, and she calls the 2012 Turtles the Fast Turtles. So she kept saying she wanted the Fast Turtles. So I went, Charlotte, just give it a chance. If you don't like it, we'll turn it off. So put it in, and she loved the entire movie. She loved it to death. She really liked the Vanilla Ice cameo at the end. Go ninja, go! I love it so much. It's so awesome. But yeah, she ended up loving it, and it was a good time. I don't know. Have you seen that one?
I think I've seen pieces of it.
Yeah. So, but that's, I know you don't like the live action to Ninja Turtles. It's a partner marriage that we have to work through, but it's okay.
We'll get over it.
Eventually, with therapy.
So next up, we have Season 2 of Arrow.
Yeah, we finished that over the course of October, and I mean, it is I agree with pretty much what everyone else says from what I read. I agree, it is the best season of Arrow.
It's so good. There's so many twists and turns in that season.
I mean, you have the return of Sarah Lance, you have
Slade Wilson.
Manu Bennett just kills it there. K-Lot, she's great as Sarah. And I mean, it's amazing. There's some wonderful performances throughout the season. There's some great episodes. We get introduced to Barry Allen, Grant Gustin as Barry Allen, who will then become the Flash. That was kind of their backdoor pilot into that show. So, and that was really cute. And I know you just adore Barry Allen.
I do. I love Oliver Queen because he's a hottie, but Barry Allen is adorable.
All right, so this next one we have. You may be shocked at what I'm about to show you next. If you watched any of our previous What Are We Watching videos, you're probably shocked a little bit. But we watched a Harry Potter movie. Are you stunned?
I'm stunned.
I know, right? We watched Prisoner of Azkaban.
Mm-hmm. Which you can argue is Halloween-y, I suppose, but we're not counting it.
Yeah, it definitely has moments to it. And I was kind of, like I was telling you, I kind of feel like something, like the first couple, I feel like I would absolutely call Halloween-style movies. After that, I don't know if it has that same feel to it.
I think they just hit the holidays and stuff in general so much harder in the first 2 or 3 movies that after that, when they get more focused on the Voldemort stuff, it feels a little less holiday.
Yeah, absolutely. And we did recently get the Harry Potter franchise on 4K in anticipation of us getting the PS5 here in about how many days?
A week.
About a week. Yes. So we'll finally be 4K capable. So excited about that. You have no idea. So, but we got that on 4K. We are not getting rid of this box set.
Ever.
I mean, it's too amazing, and the special features on it are just too awesome. And I believe the 4K set does not have any in there.
Yeah, the 4K set is super duper bare bones. The only thing I guess you could call the extras are that they have the extended versions of Prisoner of Azkaban, of Sorcerer's Stone and Chamber of Secrets. I wanted to say Philosopher's Stone, but it's the American version. So, all right. So next up, we have another big beastly box set.
We like big beastly box sets. Boom!
Boom!
Dun 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 dun. Sorry.
Dun, 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 dun.
We watched Godzilla Raids Again, the second film in the Godzilla franchise. It came out in 56, I believe. Yeah, 56. 56 or 55. That was right around when my dad was born. But yeah, I mean, I know this one is kind of not well. It generally is one of the least regarded ones of the Godzilla series. I think it's actually a really good one, and I think that I really like the human characters in this.
Yeah, you get attached to the actual people in this movie, and when I think about this movie, I don't actually think that much about Godzilla himself. I think about the people in the movie.
Yeah, and I think they actually did a really good job. And if you look at kind of the backstory behind it, this came out really within a year or so after the original Godzilla film came out. And so you would think this would be like a really rushed production, and in some ways it kind of is. It's definitely a more, I feel like it's a kind of a faster feeling kind of movie almost than the original one. But it did do a really good job of establishing some really good characters that you end up caring about. And I forget the names, but I mean, basically there's the two pilots that kind of operate together. They're kind of partners, and they have really great chemistry on scene.
They do, and they're really like nice people, and then they have like a good friendship, and then they also have a really great rapport with the girl in the movie who is like the radio girl who like kind of they talk to like when they're out flying around and everything, and so it's really sweet, their relationship, I thought. And then you kind of get your heart broken a little bit at the end, but it's fine. It's fine, really. Everything's fine.
All right, so now we're moving on to the bulk of October, which is very much in the horror, scary, maybe some, more comedy stuff that's kind of in that realm of like, either ghosts or, zombies or whatever. But we'll start off with we'll go through some other big box sets. But this one you may be very familiar with if you follow this channel, because I did an unboxing for this box set. Oh, yeah. You saw me get very excited when we opened the sucker up and went through it. But the Friday the 13th set from Shout Scream Factory. And, of course, I'll just show that off again. It's just so awesome. But then, of course, there is the movies there. And and of course, because I know you're not the biggest fan of Friday the 13th. And, that's okay. No worries. But I went through and I watched, I believe, through Jason Goes to Hell. So I watched Friday the 13th, Friday the 13th Part 2, Friday the 13th Part 3, Friday the 13th, The Final Chapter, Friday the 13th, A New Beginning, Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives, Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood, Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, and Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday.
You didn't watch Jason X? Is that Jason in Space?
Yeah, I did not watch Jason in Space yet. I am eventually going to finish this, and probably sooner rather than later, but, it's just, I was basically having to watch this after you went to bed, so
when I was reading.
Or whenever you were reading, yeah.
It's not that they're, like, super scary to me or something like that. It's more just, like, I watched the first one, and then you start to watch another one, and I'm just bored.
and I want to be clear on that, because, I mean, you love the Halloween franchise. You were part of our ranking video for the Halloween series. And also, you love Nightmare on Elm Street as well. So, I mean, I just think it's this one that kind of is like, no.
It's almost like too basic or something. I lose interest really fast.
Yeah. So, but, just very quickly, I won't, go take too much time on it. But Friday the 13th, of course, very classic film. It moves a little slow for my taste. But, of course, spoiler alert, Jason's not the killer in this one. It's his mom, Pam Voorhees. And then, but it's still very classic, and I enjoy watching it. Friday the 13th Part 2, I think it significantly improves over the first one. That is definitely my opinion. You start to, there's some of the counselors in this are really great. Jason with the bag over his face is just awesome. Then, of course, we move to Friday the 13th Part 3. It kind of has its moments with the obvious, like, this is 3D shots, but, I mean... it's like, I'm just going to point this thing, like, right in the camera. Like, it's really odd that I would do this, like, in real life, but I'm going to do this here. But, I mean, it has a few moments like that. But, of course, it's when he gets his iconic hockey mask, and it's still very enjoyable. Friday the 13th, The Final Chapter. Oh, this is a great slasher movie, period. If I was actually going to show somebody that had never heard of Friday the 13th, I would actually probably pick this one. It's a great, and it ends. The ending is just so awesome. A New Beginning. I think this is one of the better films in the franchise. I'm not going to lie. I know some people would really disagree with me for a lot of the same reasons that some people don't like Halloween 3. This is not Jason Voorhees. You need to watch the ranked Halloween video for that backstory on that. Jason Lives, solid. New Blood, solid. Jason Takes Manhattan, not quite as good, but still enjoyable. Jason Goes to Hell, just weird.
I wasn't even watching it with the sound. He had his headphones in, and I was still like, "What is happening?"
Yeah, it's just weird. So, and as I watch further these, I'll kind of talk about them and another while we're watching at some other point, and probably I'll do a ranked of this franchise at some point because, hey, it's just too cool not to. Probably for next Halloween.
So next up we have our Alfred Hitchcock collection. And from this, we watched both The Birds and Rear Window, right?
Yep.
So both classics, both fantastic. I would say of the two, actually, Rear Window is my favorite.
Rear Window's awesome.
But that movie has been ripped off so many times, it's actually amazing.
Yeah, it's absolutely phenomenal. And The Birds, I mean,
The Birds is so unsettling.
Yeah, The Birds is very unsettling.
I feel bad for Tippi Hedren every time I watch that movie.
Yeah, but I mean, Hitchcock, you've got to revisit Hitchcock at some point. I'm surprised we didn't watch Psycho.
But we watched them like back during the summer.
But we did watch them back during the summer. I think we covered those on another What Are We Watching? So I think as we kind of move forward, we're kind of not, if we want to watch some of these in another time of year, we'll just watch them then, and maybe we won't watch them for Halloween. But, I mean, Rear Window, oh gosh, Jimmy Stewart just nails it. And
Grace Kelly is stunning.
Yeah, she's an all-time beauty, man.
She looks like a real Barbie.
Absolutely. And like I said, Tippi Hedren, she's awesome in The Birds, and I forget the name of the actor.
I do not remember.
But he's also really good as well. They have great chemistry in that. I mean, just two really classic, kind of scary kind of movies.
So next up is something we also just recently did a video on.
As we said, Halloween. We did, as I said, we did a ranking video on this. And on this one, of course, as we've covered in other What Are We Watchings, we already watched Halloween, basically the first Halloween through Halloween Resurrection, although it doesn't exist. Halloween Resurrection does not exist. I want to be very clear on that. It never happened. But we did watch it, even though it never happened. But in this one, basically, we watched the Rob Zombie 2007 remake of Halloween and his sequel to it, Halloween 2. And then we also watched the 2018 film that brought back Jamie Lee Curtis to the role, just so we could finish it out before we did the ranking video. And kind of like as we covered in the rank video, for me, Rob Zombie's first Halloween film, it was okay. It wasn't, I think some of the backstory stuff is kind of cool. The brutality wasn't so bad. It made me want to, I could watch it, I could get through it, and it was okay. Second one, there's a reason why I ranked that one the worst in the franchise. I just really don't like it. It's, brutality is one thing. This just goes way overboard for me. And then it had some interesting ideas, like 3 or 4 really interesting ideas, but then tried to do them all at once, and it just ended up being a complete mess. And the 2018 film, I adore it. I actually ranked it just ahead of the 1981 Halloween 2, just barely, and ranked it as my second film. I love it. I think it's a great film, and picks up just where the original one left off, except 40 years later. So I kind of, want to sum up your thoughts on those.
Yeah, I don't like the Rob Zombie ones for a lot of the same reasons, and also that I feel like not only is it brutal, but it dwells on the brutality and keeps it on camera for an exceptionally long time, which it doesn't ever sit well with me in any kind of horror movie. The rest of them, there are definitely some that are kind of hot steaming piles of garbage, and there are some that are really, really good. And of course, the original is always going to be the best. But
and then for the 2018 film,
the 2018 film, I think I ranked it 3rd or 4th. I want to say 4th, maybe.
I can't remember now. I thought it was maybe 5th.
Was it? I don't know. I don't remember.
It was it was definitely on the top half.
Maybe it was 4th or 5th, because I think H2O was my 3.
Yeah. So it was definitely in the top half.
Anyway, you can watch that video and see we go into great detail about all of our rankings and all of that there.
Absolutely. All right, so the next one, and I think this is the final big, huge box set that we did. We went through a lot of them, but we pulled one out of this, of course, the Mel Brooks collection, Mel Brooks, genius, but we watched Young Frankenstein. So funny, so amazing, just, mwah. I mean, it's so fun to watch that every year around the October time. And, especially when you have a lot of great knowledge of those original Universal movies starring Boris Karloff.
And then also knowing that Walk This Way was because of this movie.
Yeah, Aerosmith, the Walk This Way song. Basically, they were watching it in the movie theater, and, Walk This Way, that's how they came up with the song, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, it's just such a great performance. Gene Wilder, Terry Garr,
Cloris
Leachman. Gosh, who plays Igor?
Oh, I don't know his name.
Marty Feldman. Oh, he's so great in this. Peter Boyle as
Madeline
Kahn. I mean, it's just one great powerhouse performance after another, and it's a spectacular film.
It is. It's one of my absolute favorites. It's actually one that I saw back in high school at my best friend's house way before I had ever watched the original Frankenstein movies, and it's much funnier now.
It definitely makes more sense.
All right, next up we have a newer movie, Winchester.
Mm-hmm.
I really like this movie. We had no intention of going to see this movie, but a friend of ours had a birthday and she wanted to go to one of those, like dine-in movie theaters, and so we went, and this is what we saw. She's really into the historical side of it, so I really liked it a lot. I think you did too.
Yeah, I think it's a really good film. It gets it has a lot of jump scares, and a lot of times people kind of rag on jump scares. I think it really works in this film. I just really enjoyed it a lot. It's got a creepy atmosphere to begin with, and yeah, if you look into the whole backstory behind the Winchester house, it's really fascinating.
Well, and this going back to the jump scares. Personally, I appreciate jump scares because I would much rather something jump and scare me than scare me because it's horrifying. But I'm also a little bit of a chicken. That's why I made a Halloweenies video.
Absolutely.
I will say there's one thing about this movie that constantly bothers me is the marketing. So we've got this great picture of Helen Mirren looking creepy AF on the front. She's not the creepy part at all.
She's like, if the woman in black, which we'll get to here in a little bit. I mean, that's what it looks like. It looks like this should be the cover for the woman in black. But I mean, no, she's not the scary part of the movie.
No, she's like the good person.
Come on, people, marketing. All right, so this one I covered because I watched it myself during a previous What Are We Watching video, and I brought it out to watch for Michelle to watch to see what she thought of it, and I believe you ended up liking this one, so I'll kind of just get your thoughts on it because I've given my thoughts previously. But The Fog, starring a whole bunch of awesome people.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I wouldn't say it's like my new favorite movie or anything, but I definitely, of the John Carpenter things we have explored so far, aside from Halloween, this definitely was second in line for me as far as enjoyment. I thought the concept was really interesting that, there was this kind of, I don't know, historical revenge thing going on with the fog and all of that. Mm-hmm. It was killing me, the girl up in the radio tower the whole time. I was stressed out for her because she got to do nothing except like sit there and be upset that she, like nobody can talk back to her, but she's trying desperately to get all these messages out. I was like,
and that was I forget what the name of that.
She's the Return of the Swamp Thing girl.
Adrienne Barbeau. Yeah, I mean she gives a really great performance because you really have to realize like for most of the movie she's kind of by herself.
She really is, like 90% of it.
Yeah, like to me, like she's like the awesome part of this film. But yeah, it's just a great spaghetti movie, and it's like a perfect Halloween time movie.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this one is a favorite in our household. I think we've been together for 9 years, married for 8, and I think we watched it every Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
1408, Stephen King classic, man, and I put this on one of my movies for Halloween, the Stephen King edition. I put this in here. It's just great. It's creepy. It's scary. Very simple, and boy, it takes you down a rabbit hole.
Well, and I think that most unsettling part of that movie is always when he thinks he's out and then he's not out.
Yeah.
Like, that gets you where you live. It's kind of like waking up from a dream being like, oh, thank goodness that wasn't real, and then realizing you're still there.
And then think about how demoralizing that would be, because, like, he basically it seems like he's living, because he has enough time to write a book.
I mean, it had to have been, like, at least a month.
Yeah. Like, maybe more like 6 months or something like that, because if you think, like, if someone maybe best case, they could get a book finished in 6 months.
Well, I mean, it depends. I mean, he had, like, it was in his mind. It was fresh in his mind. He knew exactly what he wanted to write. He could have pumped it out pretty quickly.
Yeah, I don't know, but, like, that would be just demoralizing, but it's so great.
So next up is one that scares me to death every time I watch it.
Now you're on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger.
Another movie that gets you where you live in your dreams.
And the first one, and we'll have to eventually do a ranked on that series as well, because I love that series so much. But I mean, the first one is so classic. And it still holds up really well, I think, especially the effects work.
Yeah, the effects are pretty cool. Some of it is just outright terrifying, without really having effects.
Mm-hmm.
The whole scene, the whole first death scene is just scary. Mm-hmm. What's her name? Linda? Is that it? No, that's not right, is it? What was her name?
I don't remember.
I don't know. Anyway, the girl in the bed, and like she's like bloody, and then she's getting like flipped all over the ceiling and the bed and everything. Yeah. Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying.
And you think about that, they did that in the early 80s with like, I mean, how they pulled that off and everything. I mean, it was awesome. Wes Craven, he's a genius. And I mean, again, that movie still holds up so well. And actually, I think the Nightmare on Elm Street series is pretty...
Oh, is it Lisa?
I don't remember.
Shoot, it's going to bother me.
It's not going to have it on there. Let it go. Let it go.
We are not a Frozen household.
We are not a Frozen household. But yeah, I mean, how he came up with this stuff and how he was able to basically figure out how to get it up on screen and make it look so believable in that time frame. Perfect. All right, so this one is another one that I think we watch every Halloween. The Ring.
And it is perennially scary.
Yes, and it has such a great atmosphere, I think.
I love it because it's kind of a sleuth film at the same time as being a horror film. And I do really well with watching that movie all the way up until the very end. Mm-hmm. And then I shut my eyes. I tried to open them this last time and I went like, nope. Because I can't watch it.
So I know we've talked about this before, but I think that kids aren't going to have any frame of reference these days. Because, I mean, think about like, the snow on the TV screen and
that
sound and like VCR tapes. Do kids today, they're like 15, 16 years old, even know what a VCR tape is?
I mean, they probably know what they are, but I don't know. I don't think it would carry as much gravitas as people who grew up with that.
But, to me, I still think it's an amazing film.
So
this one I also watched, I believe without you on this, because I love this movie so much. But Ghostbusters. Oh, amazing. Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, Bill Murray. Get out of town. This one's amazing. I mean, it's so funny. There's so many great lines in it, and it holds up so well after all these years. I'm bummed that we haven't gotten to see the sequel that was supposed to come out this year, but due to the pandemic, it got... I don't even know when it's coming out now. I don't even know when any movie's coming out anymore, but I love that film so much.
Next up, we have another one that I think we watch pretty much every year, and that is The Craft. Mm-hmm. This is such a classic. And I remember when I was a teenager watching this one in my bedroom by myself. Mm-hmm. And it was scary to me at the time, and it still has its moments. The whole bug and snake thing at the end. Nope. That's a big pile of nope.
Yeah, and it's just, I mean, all the actresses in this, I mean, they're awesome, and it's definitely got its creep factor, but I don't know, it's just got a cool feel to it, and I think it's one of those that's kind of grown in stature over the years, mm-hmm. and I know they've kind of got the sequel or rebootquel or whatever they're calling it anymore. I know they've got that coming out. I haven't seen, I don't know if I have very much inkling to see it. Almost sometimes with those you have to be careful because it can almost ruin the original, so I love the original as is. It's amazing.
All right, so next up we have the classic Night of the Living Dead. This was actually my first time watching this year ever. Mm-hmm. And I will say, like, it was good. I don't know that it's one I'd want to rewatch over and over, but this has the most infuriating cast of characters. Holy smokes. I was ready to strangle people through the TV screen.
And it's just like, I mean, I think Romero, and, there's been a lot of stuff about whether Romero was intending to say something with this or whether he was just making kind of a monster movie in this. But, of course, having a black lead and kind of ordering, white people around telling them what to do. But
and he's 100% the best character in the movie.
He is 100% the best character in the movie. But, like, a lot of this is just like, can when things get rough, and I don't really want to go down this rabbit hole and get too far into it, but when things get rough, can humanity come together to save itself? And I think that, I don't know if that's what Romero intended, but I think that's definitely what comes across. It's a classic. It started an entire huge genre within horror, and it deserves a lot of credit.
Next up, we have another favorite of ours, Shaun of the Dead.
So we go from the one that started it all to the one that probably parodied it the best. And, it's so funny. I mean, Simon Pegg is, sometimes I think he's my spirit animal. I just adore him. And Nick Frost, them two together, their chemistry is just spectacular. And, I mean, it's a love letter to the zombie genre, to the Romero films. And, I can't say enough good things about it.
Well, I think there are also just some really good kind of parody, laughable moments too of things that happen in their typical zombie movie that they kind of turn on a little bit.
And one interesting thing that I just read here, after I'd watched the film this last time, apparently, like, because there's a part in the film where, of course, they figure out that, like, zombie apocalypse is happening, and, of course, Simon Pegg is talking to his mom on the phone. His mom's name is Barbara. And so, at that point in time, Ed, I always forget which character Nick Frost, what his name is, but Ed comes on there and says, "We're coming to get you, Barbara." And apparently, when George Romero saw this film, he didn't get that joke. He really didn't like it. It kind of went over his head. He didn't realize that there was a joke there. And so I think that's it's a very clever film, and it's a love letter to that genre. All right, so this one here is a Universal Monster classic. Of course, we ranked the Universal Monsters on a ranked video, and that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that one. But we watched The Wolfman, Lon Chaney Jr. Enough said. He kills it. He's amazing.
He's sweet and he's tragic, and it breaks my heart every time I watch it.
And and a special tip of the hat to Claude Rains for as his dad. I mean, I feel like together they have a lot of good chemistry as father and son. In that you really feel like his character, clearly loves his son and wants to help him. Can't understand how to help him, but does want to help him, and it ends up being very tragic. And when you really end up rooting for Larry Talbot, but it just doesn't work out. It doesn't work out well for the Wolfman, does it? Mm-mm. All right, so the next one we have is probably the last time we'll watch this particular disc of this film. Oh, I love it. Tremors! I love it so much. I love it. So Kevin Bacon in this film is just fantastic. I forget Fred Ward, yeah. I mean, their chemistry together. I know that Kevin Bacon gets the girl at the end, but I think the real romance in this film is between Fred Ward's character and Kevin Bacon's character. Because, they have such great chemistry.
They do. It's a bromance extreme. It's awesome.
I don't know if I would necessarily classify this as a horror film, but it's definitely got its scary moments. The monster is cool. The effects work still holds up very, very well. And, it's just a lot of fun. It's a great movie. And we really need to check out the sequels. I keep meaning to do that. But we have actually bought this. I have it pre-ordered now on 4K. Arrow Video is coming out with an edition of this film. And I'm really excited to see it because I will be honest with you, this Blu-ray version is not the greatest picture quality. So I'm very excited to get this on 4K.
Next up, we've got another Universal monster, Frankenstein. A classic. We love it. What can you say? It's great.
It's alive!
I guess you can say that.
Every cliche that you see about anything with Frankenstein or really kind of these horror monsters in general, that's the cliche right there. Next ones we watched, and I'll put these two together because it's one complete story. It Chapter 1 and 2. Oh, it's so great. The kids in this are great. I think we've talked about this in kind of our Halloween picks. The kids are great in this. Chemistry's great between them, and the adult versions of them are also great. Pennywise is great. I think it's all put together very well. I think Chapter 1 is the better one of the two, or my preferred one of the two, but I also think Chapter 2 is really strong as well.
And I, by all rights, should hate these movies. I just want to put that out there. I hate clowns, and I hate gory things. And this has a lot of both. Mm-hmm. But it's the story. It's the story and the cast and the characters that make it, and they suck you in, and you're like, that's what you're there for. And so I can get over the rest of it when it's that good.
I believe you described it once as the Goonies, but horror.
Yeah, kind of, especially the first one.
Yeah. And now we have another Universal monster, but we watched Creature from the Black Lagoon. I think the underwater scenes on this are actually really fantastic. You think about filming this in the mid-50s, it was actually kind of impressive that they pulled this off. I think the creature in this is terrifying, although, like I said, a couple of shots of his face especially, it's maybe a little comedic. Exactly. But overall, I think it works really well.
Yeah, and I want whatever sorcery that girl used to keep her hair perfect in the middle of a swamp after swimming, so... Just saying.
The power of Hollywood, right?
Next up, another Universal monster, and my favorite, Dracula. So, Bela Lugosi rocks as Dracula. This movie is awesome. I love Dwight Frye in this movie as Renfield. He is so creepy and so good, and I just love this movie. It's great.
And also Van Helsing in this, Edward Van Sloan. I mean, it's just fantastic. And I mean, think about how awesome it was at the first of the sound era of the movie industry that this came out, and it just, I think it started a whole lot of different things. It's amazing.
Next up is The Woman in Black with Daniel Radcliffe. This is one of my absolute favorites, and it's a newer favorite, but I do love it. It's another one that I think relies quite a bit on jump scares, but also builds a lot of atmosphere, and the story is really interesting, and it does kind of punch you in the gut at the end, but it's really good.
Yeah, it's the mood that it creates is what really helps this film. And Daniel Radcliffe, he's a great actor. I mean, throw Harry Potter out, he's fantastic.
He's still good.
Yeah, he's still really good. This one here, I kind of side-eyed you whenever...
you pulled it out. I'm just putting it out there.
I pulled it out because it is a vampire movie, and I want to be respectful of that and not completely be closed-minded. And you picked it. I still side-eyed you a little bit because I have the right to do that.
And notice how I did not force you to watch the rest of them.
But if you wanted to, you could. Twilight! Yay!
We're not going to talk about that anymore.
I mean, okay, I'll give this a lot of... I'll be serious. This series does get better as it goes along. The first two films are a little hard for me to sit through. They are. And I think I had a little bit of Mystery Science Theater 3000 kind of, riffing going on during this film while you were watching it. But I do think that this series does get... And I actually think the last couple of films are actually pretty enjoyable.
Yeah, they do definitely get better, and I think part of it was direction, and part of it was writing in some of those first couple scripts, and then part of it, the story just kind of matured over the course of that series anyway, so there was just a lot going on later on that was much more interesting than the first bit, but there are definitely some real cringe moments in this first movie.
And, it has to be direction because, Kristen Stewart, she's gone on to have a pretty good career, and she's actually turned into a really nice actress. Robert Pattinson, he's Batman. He's created a great career for himself, kind of as an indie actor before becoming Batman, and has really proven that he's a great actor. So clearly it was direction, but it's fun to watch and riff on. I'll tell you that much. All right, so this next one, I think after Batman 1989, this is definitely my second favorite Michael Keaton movie. Beetlejuice. He's so great in this. And Tim, I think this is the type of Tim Burton movie where his aesthetic works really well. And Michael Keaton just goes off and has a ball in this role. And Alec Baldwin is great in this. Gina Davis, Winona Ryder. The cast looks just...
Hardwick.
Catherine O'Hara, you mean?
Oh, is that what it is? Yeah.
Catherine O'Hara, yeah. She's great in this. It's a great cast, great story. I think for the most part, there's some stop motion animation in this for some of the effects work that's maybe a little herky-jerky, but it still kind of fits in that Tim Burton aesthetic, so I think it works. And, this is one I would actually really like to see a sequel to, kind of like a 20, 30 years later kind of down the line.
Yeah, it's a really fun one. I gotta be honest, my favorite part of it's always the music parts. They're so much fun.
Yeah. All right, so this one, of course, this is a classic that is required viewing during the Halloween season. It's The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Oh, it's so endearing. Anytime I watch anything Peanuts related, I just have a smile on my face.
It hurts my feelings every time, though, that people keep giving Charlie Brown rocks. Who gave out rocks to kids on Halloween? Why? You are a monster. You are the Halloween monster.
I'm going to tell you something straight up. If I'm going door to door and I'm getting rocks, somebody's going to get a rock through a window. Because that's not cool. So, you're going to do that. You're going to trick me. I'm going to trick you. So
next up, let's go and do both of these. We've got two more Universal monsters. I think these are our last two on that front. We've got The Invisible Man and The Mummy, which we actually watched 2 or 3 of these. We watched 3.
We watched The Mummy's Hand after that.
Yeah, we watched The Mummy and The Mummy's Hand, and we watched The Invisible Man. And, of course, Classics, they're great. What can you say?
Yeah. Of course, I kind of watching The Mummy's Hand. I was like, meh.
It was a little boring.
It's okay. It's fun. It's only an hour long though, so it's cool. Something fun to pop in for an hour. Of course, Karloff as the Mummy, classic, and Claude Rains as the Invisible Man, classic again. I mean,
that's another one that's got great effects for the time period.
Yeah, you think about in the early 30s how they pulled that off, and it still looks pretty decent. I think this was the first one we watched of the Halloween season.
I was in the mood for this one.
Yeah, and this is fantastic. The Others. Nicole Kidman just kills it in this role. I mean, she definitely plays that role between like trying to be normal, but also being like control freak crazy at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, and that's another movie that's got a really great twist in it that you're not like at least the first time you watch it, you probably don't really see coming, and some really kind of, I don't know, uncomfortable conclusions you end up drawing by the end, I guess.
Yeah, I think this is a movie that, to me, I think the more I watch it, the more I appreciate it.
And we both sat through this movie unintentionally reading like the same really long article about all this stuff from the movie that we had questions about, and then we're telling each other what we were reading. So there's a lot there to look at.
Yeah, it's a pretty dense movie. They've talked about remaking it, and I'm like, no, don't. This is the type of movie. It's great as is. Leave it alone. Leave it alone.
Oh, now you need mascara running.
All right, so now we have a bunch of movies out of these sets to talk about. But we watched some Vincent Price. Shocking. I believe you referred to him as
a national treasure.
A national treasure. So we watched The Pit and the Pendulum, The Mask of the Red Death, The Haunted Palace, Fall of the House of Usher, and House on Haunted Hill.
And The Raven.
Oh, and The Raven. Yeah, I forgot that one. So we watched 6 Vincent Price films. So I think we like Vincent Price.
We do like Vincent Price.
So let me get one out of the way. Straight up, The Raven. We've watched it twice now, and it's the same. It's boring to me.
I'm still not sure I know what happened after about the 30-minute mark.
And the sad thing is,
it's got really great actors in it. That's not the problem. It's just weird.
You would think a movie with Vincent Price, Boris Karloff, and I forget the Peter Lorre. And Jack Nicholson is also like when he was really young. You think a cast with that in a Vincent Price film on the Vincent Price collection, which is supposed to be kind of like again marketed as get ready for 7 chilling tales starring the master of horror. This is almost a comedy.
Yeah, it's weird, and especially when you think about the poem that it's based off of, Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven, which is intrinsically creepy. This is just strange and comical and bizarre. And I think we like to be really open-minded. So like, and for me especially, if I watch something first and I'm like, huh? Especially if it was like a mismanaged expectations kind of thing where I was going in expecting one thing and got another, I am willing to go back one or two times and kind of look at it again through fresher eyes and kind of judge it based on its own merits. And we did that again here, and I'm like, we still don't get it.
I don't get it. Maybe someone can fill me in on something I'm missing. But House on Haunted Hill, it's amazing. It's
good. Although that poor girl, I swear, like I think her entire audition was like, okay, come in, scream. Okay, scream a little different. Okay, keep screaming. All right, a little higher pitch, a little lower pitch. Okay, you're good. You got the role. Like, yeah. She does. That's all she does. The whole movie is scream.
That girl could be in a heavy metal band today. I mean, she got some pipes. But I mean, yeah, it's fantastic. It's got a little bit of camp to it, little bit of a little bit of humor to it. But it's fantastic. The Pit and the Pendulum, so classic.
That's like one of my favorite ones, I think.
Yeah, it's so amazing, and the ending is just you're sitting there like, oh my gosh, when the blade's just going. I mean, it just keeps getting closer and keeps getting closer, and it's so amazing. Mask of the Red Death is definitely it's a weirder one. It definitely has its spots where it's kind of like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, it does a good job of pulling things from the story directly in certain parts, but then of course they have to fill in because they're short stories that they're pulled from, so they're filling in with all this extra stuff, and some of the stuff gets really strange. The part that always gets me is the little girl that they're trying to pass off as a little person, because I guess they couldn't find an actual female little person to do a dancing scene in this movie in 1960 whatever.
It's like she's like an 8-year-old.
Yeah, and she was supposed to be like having a romantic relationship with this grown little person. a man who was in the movie who was also like a really mean-spirited character, and it was real awkward. So that's, to me, that's always uncomfortable.
And then also like when she has, because she has a few lines, but they like dubbed her in with an adult woman voice, and it's like it's so obviously done. It's just like, okay, like
it's very off-putting.
Yeah, it's weird, and like it's a strange film, but it's still fun. It's still fun to watch. The Haunted Palace.
That one's really good. That's another one that reminds me of, well, I guess more like The Woman in Black reminds me of that one a little bit, and then it's like a guy coming to a place where everyone doesn't want him to be there and just keeps trying to get rid of him in any way possible.
Yeah. And it definitely has kind of more of a ghost evil spirit, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And it's a lot of fun. And then The Fall of the House of Usher.
Yeah, that's another great one. And it amazes me, like, Vincent Price is such a chameleon and plays all these different roles.
Yeah, and I think he plays more of in this one he's just kind of crazy and
it's like
kind of tragic martyr, almost kind of like he almost like martyrs himself.
Yeah, well, it's like he's crazy, but he doesn't act crazy. Like he's very level-headed in his craziness. I guess that's the best way I can put it.
I think the phrase that we're looking for the word we're looking for is oxymoronic.
I guess, because he's very sure of what he's, what he believes, and he's very sure that he's right, and so everything he does is very calculated.
But his conclusion that he's working towards is just pure insanity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really strange.
All right, so this one we watched twice because I think you were feeling, this was kind of sort of the start of October. I think you were feeling a little down that night, so I was like, honey, we'll watch it. And then we were like, oh, we've got to introduce Charlotte to this, so we watched it again on Halloween night. And it is the Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You of Halloween movies, Hocus Pocus. And it's a great film. Oh my gosh. But once you start hitting October 1st, it's everywhere. But it is a lot of fun. I really like Bette Midler in this. She's so great. And Kathy Najimy is also great. Also Sarah Jessica Parker. But it's a lot of fun.
That's always one of my favorite parts. I don't know why.
And also I kind of like the scene at the ball. Like, I put a spell on you. That's always fun.
Well, and the kids are great. And really young Thora Birch is great.
Yeah.
So it's just a fun all-around movie. And then you have to love Binks, who grows up to go be on NCIS.
Yeah, that's what happens. So at the end of the film... He dies, and this kid, and so the spirit goes to heaven, only to be reincarnated as an agent on NCIS. That's how that works.
Yep, it's totally how it worked.
All right, so would love to kind of hear what you guys have been watching lately, and maybe give us a couple of thoughts on what you would like to see us watch. Please let us know in the comments. I mean, we just appreciate everything. Appreciate all the views we've been getting, all the subscribers. I think we're at around 122 subscribers. We're watching kind of like the number of views and the amount of watch time and stuff is just, continually rising as we go throughout. So we're just so thankful for all of our subscribers and everyone who's checking us out. So until next time, I'm Chris.
I'm Michelle.
And we are Dees Nerds. You guys have a great, safe rest of the day. Bye.